Hi guys, Parvez here. I am with the CTO of Hyped. Uh, I am with CTO of Hyped today, Ankush Vats. So first of all, Ankush,
Yeah,
how's it going?
it's going very well. I am back at home for some time. I'm taking a break from work, so that's how I got time. And it is going to be an amazing next 6 months for us. We have some big announcements coming up, so work-wise, it's very fulfilling. And yeah,
Great. So first of all, like talking about the concept of Hyped, it sounds very interesting. Like it seems like it's being built for Gen Z, uh, and
Mhm.
it seems like you guys are playing a long-term game with it. If we see
Yeah.
like this concept is very fascinating, commerce built on top of social media.
Mhm.
Like how did this idea come into come in, like how?
Okay. So this is kind of an interesting story because we didn't initially start with this idea. Um Before this, I was at co-working, and we got acquired by Oyo at that point of time. I was handling basically sales tech, and while I transitioned to Oyo, I had four other uh, verticals that I was handling for Oyo workspaces. And then once the transition was complete, I decided to move on from that. And that's when our co-founder, who is a very dear friend of mine, he actually was thinking of doing his own startup at that point of time. So he called me, and he explained to me the concept, and he said, would you like to lead the tech here? So that there itself was like a step up, right?
Yeah.
Because at Oyo, I was just like an engineering manager. I was handling four verticals, but I was still an engineering manager. And then we are talking about handling the entire tech for an entire company, right? So I said, I understood the concept at that point of time. It was also something that I was very comfortable in doing, and I had a lot of experience with. So the initial idea was to create an influencer marketing platform. We wanted to build a platform that would connect influencers with brands. Currently, we see a lot of influencers on Instagram. They have a lot of following and everything, but they are not able to monetize that following just right. Some of the top influencers are able to do it, but the mid-tier and the majority of the influencers can't do it, right? So we wanted to create an open platform where influencers can join the brands, and the brands can run campaigns on their own. So basically, a freelancer specifically designed for brands and influencers, right? And we started off with the idea very great. I mean, we did two iterations of the project, and it was turning out very well. But right when we were about to take off with the idea, then COVID hit, right? And the first budget that gets cut off every time something bad happens in every company is the branding and marketing budget, right?
Yeah.
And on that too also, the budget for experimental marketing is the first to go away, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were that category, right? Like
Okay.
we are owning to that category. So we could not find a lot of brands who were interested in that idea at that point of time. Brands were interested, but they were like, let's wait it out for
Hmm.
COVID to blow over, and then we can start and all of that stuff. So during that pandemic time, we were thinking what to do next, right?
Hmm.
We were at a stage where we had to decide for ourselves whether we want to continue with this idea or we want to try something out which might work in this pandemic, right? So at that point of time, we realized the current stigma around influencer marketing was that it does not yields any return, right?
Hmm.
And that was because people, when you run a Facebook ad, you basically can see what was the exact reach,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
for marketing people, the numbers matter, right?
Yeah.
Influencer marketing is sort of still in the clouds, right?
Hmm.
People, it might work, it might not work. So we thought, how do we prove that concept, right? So that's where Hyped came in. That's where we decided, okay, we'll create a platform, an e-commerce platform, where influencers content would be put up instead of product content, right?
Hmm.
And this content can come from brand, can come from influencer, or can even be commissioned by the brand, and the influencer can create it on demand, right? So
Hmm.
generating work for influencers, creating value for brands, and then creating an e-commerce platform in the middle of all of it, right? That's how Hyped was born. So I still clearly remember that at that point of time, I was searching for, a new apartment in New Delhi, and we were stuck in an Airbnb when lockdown happened. So we kept extending the Airbnb for next 3-4 months, and in May, I decided that I would go home for some time, and then I will come back. So before going back home, this is the last day that I'm in Delhi at that point of time. So me and Aishwarya is our co-founder, and Akshay, we sat together and we discussed this idea, hyped e-commerce store, right? So and I had a very clear understanding. Okay, this is what we need to do, and we need to do it in like flat out 1 month, right? So and the entire team at Hyped at that point of time did not have this experience, right? We did not know how to build apps specifically for mobile devices. We had plenty of experience doing back end, front end. We could build any kind of web service, any kind of web portal, anything, right? Mobile was not the domain that we used to work with. And this is strictly because we were in business enabling solutions. We did not need to work on the mobile app side, right? Because we were never customer facing. And influencer marketing platform was also sort of never supposed to be customer facing. It was brand to influencer, which are very restricted user base, right? So it could work with just the web part as well. And but when we turned towards e-commerce, then we had no option. We had to create a mobile app, right? So we hired an intern from my old college, right? An intern, and that intern actually built the first version of Hyped e-commerce app in less than 50 days. It's flat. So that's how Hyped came to be. Yeah.
Interesting. Like when we talk about the influencer scenario in India, like the Indian sorry the geographical audience, like if you see the audience, so the geography also plays a role. Like if we compare India with some Western countries, if you see the influencers over there are able to cash out good money because
Yeah.
because the audience over there spends. Over here
Yes.
in India, there is a scenario that audience resists before spending. So so this also I have seen in India, like or like yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, India is always going to be a price conscious market. We cannot expect it to work. The model which works in the US will work in India. So, on top of the layer where we provide influencer based marketing, we also have to ensure that our prices for every product that we sell on the marketplace is as competitive as it gets, right? So, when we sell something, we have to make sure that it is it is value for money for every customer. And the content is just a plus, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to buy a facial kit, if a girl is going to buy a facial kit and this is her first facial kit, she doesn't know how to use it, might as well look at a few content from influencers who are teaching the exact same thing. The fundamental of content on Hype platform is supposed to be an edutainment kind of thing, right? We want to educate our user about the product they are about to purchase if they are not educated, obviously. So this obviously helps them make a better purchase decision, and this also results in stickiness of the app, right? People would come back to an app which teaches them how to use a product rather than just going to a blind app where they can find the best price. But this will not happen overnight. We understand that, and there is a journey to it. So we will take about 6-7 months to roll out that entire plan where we ensure that the customer understands the content value, and then based on that value they also make the purchases on the platform.
So basically, we all know this that with social media and with other marketplace models, there is this issue. Like Y Combinator calls it as a chicken and egg problem. Like you need people for it to work, right? So how
Yes.
have you faced this problem, and like how are you trying to battle it?
I mean, this is a well-known problem. I mean, we have to move away from the traditional method of acquiring users and also the brands, because for us it goes both ways, right? We have to also get the brands on board, Brands would not like to invest their time and energy into a platform which is barely, floating and has less than 10,000 downloads, when in comparison they have Amazon and Flipkart, which are like millions of users, millions of active users per day, right?
Mm.
So we had to have a two-way approach where we convince brands the value of the content, which is not currently provided by Flipkart or Amazon. If you see Flipkart or Amazon, they are doing some kind of Amazon has its own Amazon Prime service, right? They are
Yes, yes.
selling every movie possible, but that does not correlate to any kind of product on the Amazon's main website, right?
Mm.
And on Flipkart also, if you see, Flipkart videos does not correlate to any product per se. They are creating content which is very much separate from the product side of things, but they ensure that the user stickiness to their app remains, right? So the video is just for them. The video is just, what I perceive right now is, the video for them is just a means to retain their users on the app, rather than adding any value through that video to the customer's life, right? And that's where Hype differs. So Hyped is trying to alter the entire course of user's journey through a e-commerce platform app. We don't intend that you buy the product as soon as you see a video, right? But it's in your head now. You know that something of this sort you saw earlier on the app, and they taught you how to use it, or they taught you what's the benefit of using it. And the next time when it hits you actually that you want to buy a product, and you have made up your mind, you'll come to a Hyped app instead of going to Amazon or Flipkart, because that's where you saw it, right? And that's where we differ. So our customer acquisition strategy is completely different. We still do have to deal with the chicken and egg problem, but for us, I think content is the way to navigate through that.
Got it. Understood. Understood. Okay, so how do you see the current tech ecosystem in India? Like you are the CTO, like you have like all like the whole journey or like of a career, like from the time you graduated till now has been in tech. So how do you see the tech ecosystem in India, like as the startup ecosystem is booming, and how do you see it evolving over the period of time?
Okay, so like this question itself would require an entire different podcast, but just to keep it brief and just to get the point across, I think that the tech ecosystem in India is on the rise. We are flourishing very well. Until like a decade back, we were just the IT hub of the world. We used to do the odd outsourced jobs for other developed nations. But with the startup ecosystem coming into the play, we have better resources applying their brains to solve better problems, right? We have our own space tech. I mean, it's not SpaceX, but it's there now, right? We have a Tesla competitor as well. So we do have good people solving greater problems now instead of just doing outsourced work, right? So I think this has also given rise to actually talent acquisition, right? So it's getting harder to find good talent in India because there are so few, and they are so quickly being absorbed in the ecosystem due to their high demand, and people are ready to pay any kind of amount for that kind of talent, right? I have never seen an SD1 salary go up to 30-35 lakhs until like 5-10 years ago, but now it is going there as well because it's just how much it's in demand right now. We in fact
sorry to pause you, but SD1's salary is that much? I guess SD1 is the starting role, right?
Yes, it is the starting role, but there are companies who are offering a overall compensation package where you get about half of it as like in-hand salary and half of it is in ESOPs. So when you join a startup, you get a bigger value. So for all the engineers out there who understand what they want to work on and who have this particular skill that they want to get better at, they should definitely double down on it, because in the next 4 or 5 years we will see a sharp rise in engineers being absorbed into the ecosystem if they are good enough. I'm not saying everybody will be, right? Just because jobs are there doesn't mean people would hire incompetent engineers, right? Our problem currently is this, that our education system doesn't match the requirement that a corporate or a startup has. So students really need to buckle up and do their best step up on their own. Basically, colleges are not going to be able to help you in that. Companies are not going to invest in that until unless, like, there are some traditional MNCs that do invest in that kind of strategy, but then you know how much they pay. So if you really want to, get into the grind, you have to work on yourself all by yourself. And if you do, just know that on the other end of things, you will have a much better future.
Yeah. Like as we talk about tech, I can remember like before few years,
Mm,
like capital was a moat. Like
mm,
like a lot of startups or a lot of companies used to struggle when the point came towards capital. But now what
mm,
I'm seeing, like finding the right tech talent, like it
mm,
has sort of become a necessity. And
mm,
moreover it's becoming a moat. Like you're not able to find that. And as you said, the like the increase in salaries, like
mm,
and now from the other end, uh, the person who has that skill is also playing with the offers, like, okay, I'm getting better, I'm getting better offer
mm.
over here, I'll just match those offers where I get the better, I'll be going there and all. So it's also becoming a big deal for the company to get the right talent and ask them to stay.
Mm.
So yeah, that's also a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I did another session on this at Startup Lanes earlier this year, and there also I reiterated the same point. Retaining a talent is not about notice periods and bonds and everything else. It's just about one simple plain thing. Your vision should match their vision.
Yeah,
If they believe that they want to really build this product out, or if they believe that they really want to solve this problem, salaries won't matter, the perks won't
yeah,
matter, as long as it's survivable, right? You
mm,
can't expect somebody to cut their own limbs to work for your company, right?
yeah, yeah.
You have to obviously give them a survivable pay,
Mm,
but they will stick around if the vision matches their vision and there is a growth plan there, right?
mm,
It
mm,
should not be stagnant. So this is one of the things that I do as soon as somebody else joins in our company, and I've done it for every other direct member who reports to me. I have charted out their course for growth for over the next 3-4 years, and I have made sure that it's completely transparent between them and me, that this is what you need to this is your target, this is what you need to hit. If you accomplish these goals within the organization, nobody's going to stop that promotion that you want, right?
mm,
So I obviously want them to succeed in life. I want them to be here, but if, I mean, at some point of time they are going to find it somewhere else, then it's not, in my hand to
mm,
stop them. And nobody should actually do that. Your exit strategy should be as important as your entry strategy. If you're
yeah.
onboarding people, be sure that they are going to exit at some point of time, and you just have to be prepared for that. So you have to have a backup plan of a backup plan, right? So that's how it works. I mean, it's part of life. You just can't avoid any exit. So the best way to maintain a culture is to ensure that people understand what your vision is, what you're trying to solve, and if they click with that kind of vision, they
Mm,
will stick around. Just ensure that they have a growth trajectory then,
mm,
and if they choose to exit, be very respectful about their decision and make sure that
mm,
you can do whatever the best you can do for them. If there is an ESOP part involved, make sure that they do have like a longer exercise period, and make sure that it's not cut into zero or something like
yeah.
that. There are a lot of startups that do that and they hold grudges after it. And I
Mhm.
also see a lot of companies doing this, where they don't allow people who have left their company once to come back to the company.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely ridiculous.
yeah,
You have a resource you hired previously, you have already vetted them, they already know the system, and they have seen around in the world and they think that your company is better and they want to come back. Why would
yeah,
you stop them?
yeah.
I never got that idea. So I would overall, I suggest that have a onboarding and exit strategy in place, and make sure that while they are at your company or at your startup, you do have like a proper growth trajectory for every individual.
Mm. Yeah, like and agree to that point. Like Peter Thiel said the same thing. Like, when you're hiring the talent, like keep the salary and ESOPs aside first, and just ask them if they click with your vision and the mission that you have set. If they
Mhm.
click with it, then it would be, like easier for you to all work together. Like, you all would have the same thing in mind, and the
Mhm.
brains would be functioning in that way. So it's like you don't
Exactly.
want people in your company who are not able to resonate with your vision, and they're just there for the
Mhm.
salary and the ESOPs, right?
Yeah,
And that's very valuable
which is
point.
very true, obviously. Yeah. I mean, I
Like
have come
cricket
to that
salary too.
conclusion without reading that book, although,
Yeah.
because I haven't had the time to read it yet, but it's on my list, but I haven't read it yet. But this is the conclusion that I have arrived myself while seeing, the ecosystem in India.
Hmm. There, there's also this thing, like as you said, like founders have a problem if if someone from their team leaves and they go to explore to some other go to explore some other companies,
Yeah.
and then when they want to come back, like they are not allowed to,
They're not
or they
easily
are,
hired.
yeah, looked as an outsider. uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I'm not able to, like sometimes when I'm not able to digest the fact, like how can you be like he's not your asset. Okay.
Mhm.
Like he's a human. It's his own will. Like it's his own will,
Yes.
his or her own will. Like it doesn't make
Like,
sense when some great
they're
talent is
still an
coming to you.
asset to the company. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying it from the perspective that you have any ownership onto them,
Yeah.
but for you, you have to understand that you have already invested the time in hiring this person earlier, right?
Yeah.
They have already worked for you, so they know something about the system that otherwise a newcomer would have to, start from scratch.
Hmm, hmm,
So
hmm,
it's much more beneficial to hire somebody who's returning to your company, right?
hmm.
Because it has been seen that they tend to stay longer the next time that they come, right?
Yeah.
So from all perspective, it's a win-win. So I just don't understand the attitude why
Yeah.
you would say no to somebody who has
Yeah.
already been there.
Yeah. Like I would like to correct myself. It was not asset, but ownership. Yeah, ownership was the word I
Yeah,
meant. Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, coming to the next point, like how do you
Hmm.
hire the tech at Hyped, the tech talent
Okay.
at Hyped?
Okay. So for now, all the hirings that we have done, it's been through personal connects only, right?
Hmm, hmm,
So I had my initial team at the previous company, and we pulled them out from that company, and we hired them all here, right?
okay.
They were going to exit anyway. So we just wanted to keep the team together because I took about a year and a half to, train these guys and build the team that I had. So I did not want to start from scratch completely and build the same culture over and over again.
Yeah.
So having that entire team come on board was a big relief for us
Hmm,
because uh, we have seen that over time these people have created a sync between themselves, that they don't really need to communicate a lot between each other to
hmm,
really understand what's going on, right? And during the time of work from home, where the communication part was very, very limited, or every communication would have to go through a Zoom meet or Google Meet, and you will obviously have some sort of Zoom fatigue and all of that stuff. This has been a blessing, obviously.
hmm.
These guys have been able to completely communicate what they exactly need from the other member of the team, and keep it everything in sync, and we have never missed a deadline like by a huge margin.
Hmm.
Most people have done that in the early stage of the startup, regardless of a pandemic or not. But we have been, I think, lucky enough that we have a team where people are so well, I mean, so well synced with each other that they can communicate without really communicating anything. So yeah, that has been great. So what we do now that we are hiring from outside, our strategy is very simple. We look for two things.
Hmm.
We look for one core skill, right? We do
Hmm.
not ask anybody to have like 15
Yeah.
skills in their
Yeah.
resume. We just ask for one, right?
Yeah.
If you are going to do front end, just do front end. We don't mind if you don't know anything about the back end. That's totally fine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You will come here and probably learn a little bit about that, right?
Yeah.
But even if you don't, that is not going to hamper your hiring chances, right?
Hmm.
And so I'll just give you an example. We set out an application for hiring an SD1 for front end role. Okay.
Okay.
And 99% of the resumes that came to me had these three skills listed, which had nothing to do with front end. The first one was machine learning. It had nothing to do with front end, but it was still there on all resumes. If by any chance I would have taken one of those resumes at random, called the guy for interview, and asked what is linear regression, they would have probably not able to explain it,
Okay, what is
right?
that?
Let's skip that for another discussion.
Okay,
But
okay,
the
sure,
point
sure.
is that people don't understand what linear regression is, and they still
Uh,
write it on their resumes. And
uh,
I mean, if the interviewer asks you, then you will be not able to answer that question, right? So why like fake things on your resume? Just
yeah.
write one or two things that you are really good at, something that you have already
Mm,
done. If you have any minor projects on GitHub or
mm,
anything else, just list that there.
mm,
Obviously have your LinkedIn profile linked on your resume. It helps to see what kind of groups you are part of, and what kind of schools that you have been to. And
mm,
it's a common common format. People are
yeah,
much more,
yeah,
when a recruiter looks at a resume can be of 100 different formats, but LinkedIn
yeah,
profile is going to be a single format, right?
yeah.
So it's very quick to take a glance on your LinkedIn profile and move quickly. So obviously have that, and you don't need to exaggerate your achievements, to be very
Mm,
honest.
mm,
If it's a junior role, or I mean if it's a beginner role, we do not expect any kind of experience. We
mm,
do not want
mm,
you to
mm,
list down a
mm,
5-page resume telling us that you have done this, done this, done this. That doesn't matter to us, right? Even if you haven't done anything yet, right? Experience won't be a criteria for SD1, for us at least. We want to ensure that anyone who's getting hired at Hyped has the chance to experience it for themselves and learn from
mm,
the environment, right? So all we ask for an level role is that you know just one skill set and
yeah,
you know it well enough.
yeah.
That's it. If it's a middle role, we expect you to know that core skill that for which you're applying,
Mm,
and some mentorship skills, right? Because you will be the person who is going to be responsible for training these people who are going to be coming at an entry level position, right?
yeah.
If you are at a senior level, let's say manager level,
Mm,
we expect you to understand project estimation, because that's where experience really shows, right? You
mm,
understand what will take time and what won't take time,
mm,
which
mm,
generally the engineers won't be able to estimate as accurately as a manager, right?
yeah.
So the power of estimation, that's where the experience comes in, right? That's how we judge experience.
Mm,
And if you have that experience, you're good for us to join in a manager's role. So that's our strategy for hiring tech at
mm,
Hyped.
okay. Yeah, till now we have not hired any tech at Finave. Like more like whatever tech we have is Garvit. Like the person manages the whole tech at Finave. So how
Uh-huh.
I met him was very interesting. Okay, I'm like I have studied till 12th, and uh, uh, and I'm not in touch with most of my classmates. So
Mhm.
now just forget about knowing people who are in tech background. So
Mhm.
after that my career went into marketing and sales role. So over here
Mhm.
it's hardly you meet any tech people. And the
Mhm.
startups where I worked, like I have only worked at one startup. So over there
Mhm.
also we didn't have any in-house tech team. We had
Mhm.
outsourced the tech. So
Mhm.
so hiring tech was like, I was like, मैं कैसे hire करूँ? Like there needs to be a tech person. And
Mhm.
so I reached out to my friend, and Garvatan, I found Garvatan one of the mutual friends.
Mhm.
Like we have one mutual friend. So that's
Mhm.
how he came in. And after that, apart from that, if I talk about the other hiring, then we hired Rahul for the UI UX part.
Mhm.
So this was again a bit of crazy story. Okay, basically the thing was, we all don't have that much money to to just pay each other. We just
Mhm.
have the money which is limited to running the operations.
Mhm.
So that's how we are going. And every time I talk to a person who wants to join, like I just keep the salary and ESOP part aside. Obviously,
Mhm.
like stake or ESOP is what I can give them in return. But
Mhm.
that's we talk about that at the later on. First, what we talk
Mhm.
is, this is what we are solving. This is the mission, and this is how we want to go through. So are you
Mhm.
really interested in that? Like you can take a day's time and you can then
Mhm.
talk. And yeah, this was the same points I kept with Garvit and Rahul. And how I met
Mhm.
with Rahul was like I just went on Dribble, okay? Like that was the
Mhm.
easiest way to find. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah. We found our chief product designer as from Dribble as well.
Yeah.
We in fact hired him to work freelance for some time, and then we saw his work and we were completely impressed. The current design
Uh,
of the app was done by him only.
uh,
We decided to have him full time on board. So that's how we found our designer as well.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like what happened was okay. Wait, I didn't directly go to Dribble. Like what happened? Like this Swiggy's senior product manager Saptarshi Prakash. So
Hmm.
so obviously like there is this logical thing. He keeps posting about design. So in his likes and
Hmm.
comment section, obviously there will be the design people only. So I just
Right.
tap on it and then I was scrolling. I find Rahul.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Hmm.
I'll go and search him on Dribble if I find him. So I went on Dribble, I
Hmm.
saw his portfolio. And at night
Hmm.
one, I text him on Instagram. Hey Rahul, I
Hmm.
want to talk to you.
Hmm.
So he texts me, okay, what happened? And then we talk and then we lay the things out and that's how we joined. So I tell you how
Hmm.
it's going great. Like that's how the hiring is.
Yeah. I mean, all the first initial hirings are going to be an amazing story because at
Yeah,
that point of time, you don't have much to offer these guys, right?
yeah.
So it's all part of the story where a few people joined on board and made all the difference.
Yes. Okay, so I take it further. What were the problems did you face while building
Mm.
Hype platform? Like obviously, when you are building a tech platform, like
Mhm.
there will be problems.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
what were
so
the problems you faced and how did you overcome them?
I mean, the biggest challenge was to, upskill the entire team.
Yeah.
We were earlier working with a language which was not suitable enough for a consumer-facing application. So our entire backend team had to upscale from Python to Golang, and we did that in less than a month's time. And then we built the entire new infrastructure on this new platform, right? So upskilling is always going to be one of the problems, but the best part that I found about my team was they were willing to take chances, right? So most companies would not dare to move on to a newer technology when they have to launch a product on a quick succession, right? But
Mhm.
we also realized that the technology that we were using was not apt enough to scale when we needed it to. So we wanted to just take that 1 month's time and reskill the entire team in and move to a newer technology. The second problem that we faced early on was, as I told you earlier, that our entire team was, comprising of web developers, and this project required mobile app development. So we obviously hiring and finding an Android resource at that point of time was very difficult because nobody knew about Hype at that point of time. Like literally, Hype was nothing at that point of time, right? So we hired an intern from my old college, and I mean, it was like the biggest risk possibly that one could have taken at that point of time. The entire app rested on her shoulders, and she did an amazing job. And I mean, to be very honest, I was not expecting this. I had a backup plan in place just in case if this doesn't work out. So, but I was glad that I didn't have to, put that in place. And she did an absolutely amazing job by releasing the first version. Then we did another iteration. She was there, and then we did the third iteration as well. So that was one of the biggest problems that we had to face in the start, and we solved one of those challenges. The pandemic being the biggest of them all, it hit us in ways that we could not have imagined at that point of time.
Mhm.
Hiring was one of those things. Not being able to go to an office was one of those things. And in the initial days, you need a startup to be in office.
Yeah,
Startups are not built with work from home. I
yeah.
know a lot of people are going to hate me in the comments because of this statement, but startups cannot be built in work from home mode.
Hmm.
They can be run if they are already established, but building one takes a lot of discussion, a lot
Yeah.
of brainstorming, and every time you need to brainstorm a small feature or small idea, you won't go to a Google Meet or Zoom meeting to discuss that with your people. I mean, there's a lot of whiteboarding and all of that stuff that has to go on. So one of those things, pandemic itself was one of the biggest challenges that we had to overcome. And I'm glad like the team had excellent coordination between each other. We had to just communicate the idea once, and then everybody's mind would start racing. Okay, we need to do this in the back end, we need to do this on the front end, we need to do this in the app, and everything. I mean, all of the team would come together and start solving the problem on their respective ends, and then they will come together to integrate all the solution into one so that we could release that feature quickly. So I think we have been lucky enough that we have a team that understands the challenges,
Mm,
and better than understanding, they know how to tackle it. So
mm.
yeah, I mean, these were the biggest problems, and we have overcome so far. And I mean, even bigger challenges awaits us, and
Yeah.
we are prepared for that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, when you said this point that startups are not basically you like ones like before they are established, like
Mhm.
work from home doesn't work. And I can pretty much resonate with it. Like currently that's what we are going with, right?
Mhm.
Like we are three people, and this is a WhatsApp group, like and this is a and the best thing is we are able to understand each other, like what one of us is speaking, because texts are very
Mhm.
deceptive. Like वो वाला हो जाता है ना, like what is this person in which tone this person is speaking, what is he speaking,
Mhm.
like what does he mean. So so there is
Mhm.
always the communication is the biggest issue, and whenever you want to brainstorm,
Mhm.
sometimes it takes us time, because like uh, like what happens is first you brainstorm, then the other person brainstorms, then the other person brainstorms, like that's how it goes. You all can't sit together and brainstorm at one point.
Yeah.
uh, and also brainstorming on Zoom or Google Meet doesn't work. Yeah, like there has to be, like, better is like just brainstorm separately.
Yeah,
So
I understand that. I mean, we have tried it, and it has been a huge challenge for us as well. And that's why I have realized, building a startup takes a lot more coordination. And I mean, even while building, the tech itself, when we are working on some APIs,
mm,
if there is some issue while integrating in the front end,
mm,
when the entire team is working in an office, you can just go ahead and tap the shoulder of that guy who built the API and ask him, okay, why is it not working, right?
mm,
And they would help you with that.
uh,
But in a work from home scenario, you have to set up a meeting first, and then you have
yeah.
to see the availability of the other guy. We all are at home, so it's not like we are always available. Koi, somebody is outside going and taking a walk or something like that, and then you have to call them back. Okay, this API is not working. Can you help me with this? So all of that stuff happens, and it obviously takes a lot of toll on our people, and
Mm,
that's why burnout is also very real when you're working from home.
yes.
I mean, the burnout actually happens pretty quickly in work from home mode than actually work from office mode.
Mm,
So I do believe that the future of work is going to be a more of a hybrid model than just work from
yes.
home. A lot of companies which are announcing work from home permanently and everything, but I honestly believe that it won't last for a very long time. Even if it does, people
Mm,
would eventually realize that I mean, home might be very sweet, but you do need some separation with sweetness,
mm,
otherwise you'll be diabetic. So I do believe like this is going to take COVID will have some sort of impact at work
mm, mm,
and the workplace culture, but eventually people will roll back to
mm, mm.
an sort of hybrid model. Work from home would not be
Yeah.
seen as earlier days. Work from home used to be seen as a holiday taken by the
Mm,
employee. That won't happen
mm,
probably, which is a good thing. I
mm.
totally appreciate that. But it will also be necessary that meetings and all of that stuff happens in person in the office, maybe once or twice a week.
Mm. Yeah, see, basically, work from home is just a drastic change that we had to adapt to because of the pandemic. But because it's not long term. Okay, there are pros like the the rent charges you pay on off for that office space, the money you're spending on commute and all. Oh, okay,
Mhm.
that's fine. Okay, but it's not long term. Naval Ravikant said this thing. Okay, that
Mhm.
you can't make work from home for creative people.
Mhm.
Coding, marketing, these fields are very sort of creative. For this
Mhm.
you need an environment. Like what he said was like like uh, like he addressed this hybrid model, like keep
Mhm.
all the bunch of creative people of your company at one place, and
Mhm.
keep work from home for the rest of the people. and
Mhm.
and this sounds pretty logical. Like if you see, coding and marketing are one of the the two most creative fields you can come across. Like if we
Uh-huh.
like if I talk about any other part, it's it's more of a more of from the other aspect. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so this is one of the hybrid models, which sounds logical.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, coming to the next question. Uh,
Uh-huh.
like imagine me. I have just I have just done my 12th,
Uh-huh.
and I aim to step into the startup ecosystem and into the tech field. So what should be
Right.
my roadmap? Like how should I go?
Right after 12th. Okay. So I
If there's any suggestion that like you can at least like you can graduate in this way, or like
yeah. So
any roadmap according to you.
yeah. I mean, I honestly believe that whatever education that we are giving to our engineers is not adequate enough, at least not in tier two, tier three colleges. Maybe IITs are better, but most of us don't go to IIT, right?
Yeah.
And people who do end up at IIT and take up the computer science branch are people who were actually really good at physics, chemistry, maths, and not really computer science, probably,
Hmm.
because that's what the entrance criteria was, right? So mostly people who are interested, who are genuinely interested in studying computer science, would probably end up in tier two or tier three colleges, right? And what I do suggest is, even though your college degree might not mean a lot in the outside world, it is still a degree that you should opt for, because college life prepares you for a lot of things that
Hmm.
the real world would not give you a chance for preparing, right?
Hmm.
It's much more easy
Hmm.
in college, and the outside world is going to be a lot more ruthless.
Hmm.
So I do suggest that you do go through a college and enjoy those 4 years. My roadmap would be very simple. The first year you would waste learning all the common subjects that is common across all branches of engineering, right? So first year, take your time, enjoy being away from probably your family and everything. Newfound freedom is obviously a perk at that point of time,
It's
and
exciting
especially
also.
after 12th, because 12th for a lot of students is going to be a lot more stressful than what it was earlier, 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
But uh, after the competition has ended, that phase of your life has gone away, and now you are stepping into this world of freedom.
Hmm.
Take the first year to enjoy yourself, right?
Hmm.
Second year onwards, try to figure out what your liking is in your respective fields. I am not just talking about computer science right now,
Hmm.
but any engineering field. If you
Hmm.
like something else, that's your time to change, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And let's say you do like computer science and you do want to pursue it for a longer period of time, then in the second third year you do pursue what you want to do, and figure out your interests and try exploring that interest, right? So second year and third year is for exploring your interest and getting a better understanding, right?
Okay.
Final year is the year that is going to be most crucial,
Right.
because it will have your main final year project. And during that project also, it should be probably within your own interest area,
Hmm.
and you should take that entire year to hone your skills in that particular field. Like, you should aim to be an expert, right? Right. Like, solve any problem that you can find online, create code and upload it to GitHub, right? And create your own profile, so that once you are done and you are through with everything and you go into the real world, you do have a resume that speaks the truth and has what is necessary for the world out there. I can assure you from my own experience that there are plenty of jobs for every skill set. I mean, every time my family relatives come and they usually ask me which skill is much more in demand these days,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
going to pay higher. I tell them every skill is in demand. We can't
Yeah.
find the right talent, and that is why there is unemployment, because
Hmm.
if people are actually good at what they do, there is plenty of opportunities out there. And especially now, when we do have a lot of
Hmm.
we have a lot of startups coming up, and they are recruiting extensively for these young
Yes.
resources.
Yes. Like I usually say this point, like in India, from what I've experienced a lot, that like this sort of a deep statement that
Mhm.
in India you don't find skilled people, but you find skilled labor. the like this is what I've experienced, and there is a difference. Like like people are not upskilling themselves because they want to, but they're upskilling themselves because their work demands to. Otherwise, they'll be out of it,
Mm.
and basically they'll have to do something else for their survival.
Mm.
So this is what I meant,
This is
and I have
absolutely
seen this.
true. Yeah. I mean, what I have seen personally is, see, it's the vicious circle of mediocrity, right?
Hmm.
Our Indian households have, instilled this idea that you just
Hmm.
need to get a job somehow. Once you
Hmm.
have the job, you have to get married at this certain age. Then you have to have kids.
Hmm.
Then your kids have to go through this. And I mean, that's called settling, right?
Yeah.
And you need to be a little bit of a rebel to, break out of that cycle.
Yeah.
So a skilled laborer can settle very quickly,
Hmm.
because after 25 you'll have a job if you're a skilled laborer, right?
Yeah.
And you can go ahead with your life. You can keep doing
Hmm.
your 9 to 5, and your salaries would keep coming in. Most likely, if your skill is not outdated enough,
Hmm.
in 10, 12 years, you'd still have a job, or if it is outdated, you'll have to go back
Hmm.
and start from scratch. So that's what settling is in India, right?
Yeah.
And this is a deep rooted thought among all of us. We all want to settle down, no matter what
Hmm.
we think of
Yeah.
ourselves on the outside. It's so deeply engraved in our brains that we can't just escape this idea.
Hmm.
So that is why we find a lot of skilled laborers, right?
Hmm.
Skilled talent people, finding them requires a bit of a rebel component in their brain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They should be like, okay, this is what the world wants me to do. This is not what I'm going to do. I'm going to
Hmm.
do this, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying just be a rebel because somebody is asking you to do something. Probably they might be giving good ideas, right?
Hmm.
But if you think that you can do better, right? And this is completely your decision. And every individual should have that right to, we have freedom, for God's sakes.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you should have that freedom in your brain as well, that you can think for yourself. You can decide, okay, this is not what I want to do. If engineering is not what something you want to do, or something that you're not interested in, that's totally okay. You want to take arts,
Hmm.
go ahead and take arts. When I was, I passed class 10th, and I had this option to choose which branch I want to take, science, commerce, or arts. One of my relatives said, is that even an option? You're obviously going to take science, right? So, and at that point of time, I didn't really think much about it, right? I mean, I obviously wanted to take science. I was very much interested in computers from the very beginning, but having that option would have been nice, right?
Yes.
And that's what middle class families right now lack. I come from one of those
Hmm.
families myself, so I understand that mentality completely, and there's nothing wrong in it. But in the recent years, we have seen that more people from that class of family have come out, and they are doing absolutely wonderful things in the startup ecosystem. Finally, for a change, they have an opportunity to
Hmm.
change their life course. Instead of being determined by somebody else, they can do it for themselves.
Yes, I can. I can totally, relate with your point. Like I have seen these things. Like like as a country, like we are a country of like status-driven people a lot. We worry a lot about our, social, about our position in the society. We worry about that a lot. And if you see, like we in India, talking about finances is sort of a taboo. Like no one talks openly about finance and all. And there is one more thing that no one talks about wealth creation, how it's created and all. I have only heard this thing. Okay, that do this, do that degree, ye karo, wo karo, acha job lo, ye karo, and then
Mhm.
marry and do whatever you want to.
Mhm.
Like just take
Get
like
out of lesson.
yeah, that's what. And but when I just set myself to exposure, like why don't I try some different 12 pass kiya yaar. After that I dropped out because when I introspected, I thought yaar, maybe I am dumb that I didn't understand in it, but better I don't waste much money. And
Mhm.
so I just went on a track of exploring everything I can
Mhm.
get my hands to. So I tried
Mhm.
sales, I tried marketing, I tried stock markets, I tried everything possible that was in my reach.
Mhm.
So I got to know this. Like creating wealth is a very easy process. Like we have just complicated it a lot. And it's just because there is this thing also. I don't remember it to the point, but it's like, it's like there are four stages. First is when you
Mhm.
are in that survival mode. Second thing is okay, अब survive कर लिया, अब क्या? and
Mhm.
and then then you eventually go on to find something in life which you love more than yourself. So so that's how the pyramid goes, and I've seen most of the people are just stuck in the first phase, which is like survival phase. And
Mhm.
the easiest way to create wealth I've seen, like i was I was shocked that it's
Mhm.
nothing, like just start doing the SIPs in an
Mhm.
index fund for 30 years. Start, like, even if you start with 1,000 rupees for
Mhm.
25 years, like, you would have accumulated a lot of money that that generations of your family has not seen. Like, that's how
Mhm.
easy it is. Like, it's just SIPs with small amounts, like 500 rupees,
Yeah.
1,000 rupees.
And they don't teach this in
Yeah,
schools.
yeah. Like this, leave the school part also, but it's that, why are we not taught this in family? Like, this was so shocking. Like, I'm like, it's
Mhm.
so easy. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's long term, but yeah,
Mhm.
but it's relatively very easy, right?
Mhm.
Now just leave the money part aside. Now what? Now think of career from this. Like in India, we do this a lot. Money is the bottleneck of our decisions.
Mhm.
I remember I was talking to a person 2 days back, and he just
Mhm.
told me, okay, I'm thinking of doing this course. And I asked, like, yeah, then do. Like, why are you thinking of it first? And so he was like, I'm seeing that people, who have done that course are earning like 60,000-70,000 rupees a month, and by just doing 2 to 3 hours of their day. No, no, that's not how it works. Like,
Mhm.
that's the worst way. Like, you can't take courses as a weapon to earn money. It should be taken as a medium to
Mhm.
learn something. Like, obviously, there
Mhm.
this might sound मतलब ना बहुत ही philanthropic, but yeah, honestly, honestly,
Yeah.
like it's my personal experience.
Yeah.
It's my personal experience.
I mean, I totally agree with that. Upskilling is like part of life. You can't do it with a motive,
Hmm.
especially if you're doing with a motive, then it defeats the entire purpose because then your mind is not at learning the thing that you're learning the course, but
Yeah.
it's on, the outcome that you're expecting out of it. And eventually that won't happen, right? So it's
Yes.
better to focus
Yes.
on what you're doing right
Yes.
now.
It's like you are not doing it because you want to do it. You are doing it because you have created a desire, and that desire
Mhm.
is that expectation of that result. Okay, I'll become this. I'll do this. I'll earn X amount. So yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, that's yeah. That's pretty much, to the point. So yeah. The last question I have. How were your money matters when you were in college? Like, were you away
Uh,
from family or were you with family?
Yeah, so I ran away from home
Okay.
after 12. Like I decided I can't stay at home anymore, so I just decided to apply to
Okay.
all the colleges which were away from my home.
Okay.
I was in Maharashtra, so at that point of time I applied to all the colleges. I was living in Pune. My father is in the Air Force, so we were posted in Pune at that point of time, and I got a college in Pune
Mm,
in first round of counseling and everything, and
mhm,
I chose to not take it, right? And in the second round I did not apply for any colleges which were
mm,
in Pune. I
mm,
applied for all the nearby colleges in nearby locations. So luckily I got one in Lonavala, which happens to be the best decision that I've made so far, because Lonavala, as you know, it's a hill station. You go
yeah,
there to enjoy yourself. So 4 years of college was complete enjoyment for me.
yeah,
I studied and I didn't really care what was being taught in college. I just did what I wanted to learn. I learned, and I tried different things, right? I started with app development on Microsoft Windows platform, and then I decided to that I did not like it. I moved to web, and then I have stuck with web for until like
mm,
today. So at that point of time, managing money was one of the biggest challenges, because even though my college tuition was paid off, my hostel fees was paid off, I would still get like a small pocket money of 1,500 rupees,
mm,
which were enough at that point of time. Trust me. Like, I mean, I was able to save 500 out of those 1500 rupees, and then I could buy things out of that 500, right? And my father would never know about it. So in the first year, I would like barely need any extra money. 1500 per month was more than enough for me, and I would, be able to manage everything out of it. Second, third year onwards, that amount kept increasing steadily. Final year, I was around at 3,500 per month approximately, because the project and everything else was, costing us a lot of money. And since I decided not to, in most engineering colleges, what people would do is in the final year, they would just buy off projects from small shops that are there, right? And we chose not to do that. So we were doing a lot of experimentation. We were doing a lot of, development at that point of time, and we needed a lot of money at that point of time as well. So we spent a lot of money back then. So final year was a little bit expensive from my side. I could have done better, but the biggest lessons that I have learned financially from that 4 years of college is that my strategy towards money has changed. I am not a savings guy anymore, right? I am an earnings kind of guy, right? I always want to make sure that my earnings, whether it's from investment or from the work that I do, is always going to be compounding, so that I don't have to rely on my savings, because the savings would eventually depreciate, right? Your money in the bank depreciates much more quickly than your money in the investment field, right? So I looked out and I saw which investment method is going to give me the highest return, right? So I'm a risk-taking person. I like taking risks. So for most people, it would be stocks or mutual funds or everything like that. For me, it was private equity. That's why I joined startups. I play in ESOPs because that's where the real money is, where growth can go up to 1000x. So I don't think, is there any other method that gives that kind of return?
Basically crypto energy बोल रहे हैं.
I mean, crypto can fail at any given point of time. Let's not go down that road.
Yeah. Let's not debate on that. It would take another hour.
It would. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I guess we can call it an off here. Otherwise, we would keep going on talking on the topics. So thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot. Like, it really means a lot.
Okay. This was quite interesting. I did not revisit so many points from my journey in past 5-6 years in any kind of discussion before this. So this was quite interesting. It was quite a recap. And I realized from this call as well that I have a lot of thinking to do for the next phase of things. So thank you for that. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.